the record now in calendars number 1 and 2. This is CR 2021-001-704-001 and CR 2022-001-242-001 in the matters of the state of Arizona versus Lori Vallow. May I have appearances?
Katie Staub appearing for the state, and I would note that next of kin are present online.
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Pamela Hicks, Robert Abernathy, Megan Swart, on behalf of Ms. Lori Vallow, who's not present. It's my understanding she refused.
All right. The court will waive the defendant's appearance for purposes of today's hearing only. For the parties' purposes, the court is familiar with the record from your prior hearing, so I understand the context in that Rule 11 motion was prior counsel. You're now stepping into that motion, and so that presents a different circumstance than usual here in these competency proceedings. The court has reviewed Dr. Hernandez's letter and Dr. McGady's report. How do the parties wish to proceed this morning?
I think what we were, before we realized she needed to be present to stipulate, we were contemplating asking the court if they would be willing to just stipulate with Dr. McGady's report. But I think at this point, we would just ask to reaffirm our, November 20th court date in front of Judge Boreski. We did send him those reports as well under seal with the hopes of, essentially, he just wants some confirmation of competency in order to proceed with the pro se motion.
My general policy is that I require the defendant to be in person, present for a finding of competency, but in some circumstances, allow counsel to file a notice with the court indicating that the defendant's been informed of that they've been found competent and of their next court date. And so I'll propose that if the parties are wishing to stipulate this morning. I know you want to move the case along. Is the state in a position to stipulate to competency based on Dr. McGady's report?
A wrinkle in that is that the state is unwilling to stipulate to competency based on one report. At the time that we met with, or that we appeared in front of Judge Boreski, there was not an indication from defense that they had advised the defendant to not cooperate with the Rule 11 evaluations. Since the state received that information yesterday, I think we just need to note for the record that any delay in coming to that, well, we were hoping that the defendant would be present today so that she could be admonished by the court that the most expedient way to get out of Rule 11 is to cooperate with the Rule 11 doctors. I'm not sure that it's appropriate for defense counsel to advise the defendant to not cooperate, but that's where we are. And I just want it to be clear for the record that the state is not employing a delay tactic in not stipulating to one report. We just need we need Dr. Hernandez to be able to offer an opinion for the purposes of the record, especially if the defendant is trying to represent herself.
Okay. So obviously we don't have Dr. Hernandez's report. According to her letter, she's going to make another attempt to meet with the defendant next week. So based on the fact that the state's unwilling to stipulate at this time, how do you want to proceed?
I think we'll just stick to the original plan of going back to Judge Boreski. He can review the reports. As far as having Ms. Vallow not speak, that was a decision based on the fact that we wanted to withdraw the Rule 11 motion. We did not want to be in Rule 11 court because we just didn't think it was appropriate at that time. Otherwise, I think this is just a completely unique case. So I think at this point, we have a court hearing with Judge Boreski. He can make a decision on what he wants to do. And if we could maybe just ask Dr. Hernandez to just do a records review as Dr. McGady did. Since
I think that's something that she considered, but she's not able to do. And so because I thought that as well, but I think she's indicating just from an ethical standpoint, she doesn't have enough information to just render an opinion. And so I don't want to force her to make an opinion when she's not in a position to do that. And she needs more information, which she hopes to get in attempting to meet with the defendant next week. Unfortunately, Ms. Vallow not speaking with the mental health experts is causing some delay, as we're seeing here. But I'm okay with affirming your next hearing with Judge Boreski with the understanding that the matter remains in Rule 11 proceedings. So simply affirming that next court hearing doesn't change the status of the case being in Rule 11 for timing purposes. And then if another hearing needs to be set in this division, we can do that from your next hearing, which is currently set for November 20th at 10 a.m. I'm going to keep Dr. Hernandez in place, though, so I'm going to affirm her appointment, and I will give her a new deadline for another report in the event that you're going to proceed in competency proceedings. So I will, if she's going to meet next week, let's see what we can do. I'm going to order that she submit. I'm going to order that she submit well, it's not a supplemental report because we don't have her initial report. So I'm going to extend her deadline for her report to December 2nd. That needs to be redacted and disclosed within 3 days by defense, pending the hearing next week with Judge Boreski. Did we cover everything? Is there anything else we need to cover this morning?
I think,
Oh, sorry.
so her report's due December 2nd.
December 2nd, correct.
And then did we set another hearing date in here?
Let's
Or
do
there already one?
that. You know what? Let's do that, and Judge Boreski can vacate if he needs to. So let's return on December 5th. Let's do 8:30 again.
Okay.
All right. Does that work? Anything further?
That works. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. We're adjourned.
Okay, so we will be back November 20th to see what Judge Boreski has to say about all of this. And we will also be back on December 5th to see what this judge is going to do. Well, it seems like Lori Vallow Daybell has started the circle and the time clock on how to mess up going to trial. Well, talk to you all soon.